Back in the long, long ago, New York and New Jersey fought over islands. They argued over which state owned the islands between them. New York proposed a race to decide ownership of the islands. Any island circled in under 24 hours would belong to New York. Staten Island was the big prize, described as the richest land. New Jersey thought the island was too large for any boat. New York was determined to expand her empire state at all costs. New York chose Captain Christopher Billop to lead the mission. The clever captain used empty barrels to catch the wind. This trick helped him win the race in under 24 hours. New York officially claimed Staten Island after this daring feat. Captain Billop became a local hero, immortalized in history books. The captain was gifted an estate on Staten Island as a reward. But wait, the details of this race are actually quite mysterious. Unlike the newspaper, this book had a bibliography, but it was messy. I decided to ask the local museum about the captain's route. But there was no response, so I started my own investigation. I found an old newspaper article from 1913 about the route. The article claims the race took just over 23 hours. Then I found a book written 6 years later with the same story. Unlike the newspaper, this book had a bibliography, but it was messy. I still couldn't find the primary source for this race. The dates of these sources are nearly 100 years apart. The race had to happen after the Royal Charter of 1664. The Supreme Court even dealt with this border dispute in the 1990s. I checked the court records, but they didn't mention Billop either. The museum website says the house was built around 1680. Captain Billop was a loyalist, and his home was a site for peace talks. There were actually 2 Billops involved in the family history. The confusion between the 2 men caused many historical errors. Captain Billop died in 1726, so the race happened before that. I'm giving up on finding the truth in these books. The online records are just as inconsistent as the old books.
One source claims 23 hours, another says 23 hours and 37 minutes.
The ship in the story changes between versions too. This book contains a specific detail about the barrels. The exact location of the barrels is mentioned here, but nowhere else. J.J. Clute wrote his history book without mentioning any barrels at all. Clute relied on oral histories from old-timers who have passed away. The story is perfect because it's a legend told long after.
I'm deep at this rabbit hole and can't find clear answers.
I found out that some volumes of the local Gazette are missing. I'm thousands of miles away from the archives I need.
Reverend de Sosway seems to be the primary source for this tale.
His writings inspired Clute and later historians to repeat the story. The first written records are lost, leaving us with these legends. I decided to travel to New York to see for myself. The journey was long, but I was determined to get answers. Finally in New York, I headed straight for the public library. The trip was tiring, but I couldn't wait to reach the library.
Driving through the city, I felt closer to the truth.
The library is a grand, historic building full of secrets. I walked through the quiet aisles, searching for the Gazette.
The catalog confirmed that the volumes are indeed missing.
I headed up to the research room to ask the experts. The reading room was beautiful, filled with history. I approached the rare book room, hoping for a breakthrough. But my plans were stopped by a strict no filming policy.
I couldn't film, but the librarian confirmed my findings. The lost volumes are truly lost, and the search ends here.
It was a long journey, but I have my answer now.
Before leaving, I decided to visit the museum one last time.
The ferry ride was peaceful, a final look at the island.
I thought about the captain and the mysterious race.
I reached the museum, hoping to find someone to talk to. The house looked silent, as if holding its own secrets. I knocked on the door, but no one answered.
The museum was closed due to the extreme heat forecast.
I came all this way just to find it closed.
At least the plaque confirms the building is real.
The history of the house is still a bit of a mystery. Standing here, I feel the weight of all the stories.
It's the end of the story, with no one left to tell.
I know they are here somewhere in this quiet place.
Searching for the truth among the graves is all I have. I found the grave of the man who started the legend. The history he wrote is now a part of the past.
A rainbow shines over the cemetery, a final sign.
It's truly amazing how a simple story can last. The search for the truth ends here, in the quiet. History is just a collection of stories we choose to believe.
And that is the end of the footnote trail.